Are you creating the same thing over and over again? Maybe you aren't very excited about making art. If this sounds like you might be experiencing art block. Welcome back. I'm Christine, and what if I told you that art block isn't real? I believe that there are multiple ways to access our creativity, but sometimes we outgrow the methods that we use. And the more that we stick to the same approach, the harder it is to create, making us think that we're experiencing art block. So grab your sketchbook because these ideas will get you out of your head and into your art. It's fun, I promise. The dirtier the sketchbook, the better, and extra points if your pencil looks as pointy as mine. Idea number 1 is a little vanilla, but it's essential because every single idea in this video builds off of the previous idea. This is the best way to maximize the creative potential that I know is inside of you. Draw an object 4 different ways. I chose flowers because they're easy. Even on your worst day, I bet you can draw a flower. I also just went with whatever came out. I didn't try to make them perfect or look any specific way. I'm using this tiny palette to limit the amount of colors that I use because I don't want to think too much. I just want to create some very basic paintings. Now don't forget, the next idea is going to build off of these sketches, so don't skip this part. Think of this first exercise as a warm-up. It's to get our confidence going and our creative juices flowing. You can use reference photos for this part if you like, but I challenge you to get a little uncomfortable and use nothing but your imagination. Your imagination is the most effective tool in defeating art block, and using it in a simple, carefree exercise like this will help you strengthen your imagination and your ability to create something from your mind. Don't worry about how any of it looks, just keep going until you're ready to move on. The second sketchbook idea is to take 2 objects and combine them in a way that makes sense. Let me show you. But first, I'm going to make this less permanent and more interactive with Post-it notes. Why Post-it notes? They're pretty. But seriously, it's easy to be less precious with these. Plus, if you find yourself being too critical, you can just rip them off and start over again. Usually flowers are found in a flower pot, but to make it more interesting, I'm going to replace the flower pot with something else. I decided to put the first bunch of flowers into an ice cream cone. All I did was extend the image of the flowers on top of the Post-it note and use a little bit of paint to create something with more detail. I decided to paint the second bunch of flowers coming out of a book. I may have gone a bit too heavy on the black outline here, but that's okay because we're not creating masterpieces, we are creating ideas. We are observing a simple object in a new way. The Post-it notes are to help you move quickly. Plus, I think it's more fun drawing and painting on these little pops of color. It's exciting to look at. It's like candy for my eyes, and it makes me so happy. I thought the third group of flowers would be interesting if they were growing out of a fishbowl. I'm getting a couple of ideas for this one, and I think I'll come back to it a little bit later in this video. Last but not least, the fourth option is growing out of a skull. Now, I'm not fantastic at drawing art from my mind, but I am enjoying this process because I think some of these are really cute. The best part about using the Post-it notes is that you can mix and match each concept with your original sketches. You can do this exercise over and over again, creating a visual reference for yourself that you can use later when you want to create a full-size painting. Combining objects in this way will give you an infinite amount of creative concepts and ideas. I guarantee that you will find a combination that gets you excited about creating something new. You'll know you found it when you get that feeling inside, that urge to create. I know that this works because I use it all the time, and this is how I came up with this next illustration. So this fishbowl reminded me of an astronaut helmet, and I thought it would be fun to fill the helmet with fish. But then it got me thinking, maybe a cat should be wearing the helmet. And maybe the fish could be flying around the cat in outer space, like this. I love it. I love it. I love how I can just create an idea based off of these little post-it note sketches. It's so fun. Now we're going to go back to the post-it exercise and choose one of these. The third sketchbook idea is to take one object and make it out of another object. I think it would be kind of cool to make a skull out of flowers, right? I don't know, but I'm gonna try it anyway. I drew a skull made out of my little flower doodles, but I'm going to paint each one a different color. I'm also not going to worry about making this look clean because there is something special about allowing yourself to paint outside the lines and just have fun. This is just one way to apply the third method. You can also experiment with different styles, color, and change the objects that you're using. The possibilities are endless. The more fun you have when you sit down to create these simple ideas, the easier it is to come back and rework them in a different way. As a result, you solve your art block. If you would like to see a video about how I turn my simple sketchbook ideas into a more refined painting, go ahead and hit that like button because I would love to share my process with you. This is where we get really creative and a little bit messy. The fourth sketchbook idea is to combine a subject with an art technique. You can use the subject that you picked from the beginning of this video, or you can try something new. Now, there are thousands of art techniques, but my personal favorite is splatter art. You can't get it wrong, and it's supposed to be messy. If you're struggling with perfectionism, this might set you free. I find that this idea works best when creating expressive portraits. I like to replace the hair with paint splatters. You can paint a realistic portrait like this piece that I made a few months ago, or you can keep it simple like this. For this piece, I'm using gouache to paint the subject, which is this fabulous woman. Now I'm covering her up with tape. For this next part, you're going to need a brush that's stiff, like this. Dip it in some paint and start flicking the bristles with your fingers to create splatters. I did a little finger painting as well. I mean, why not? I was already messy. When you're satisfied, remove the tape and have fun adding finishing touches with markers, Posca pens, or any art supplies that you like. This is one of my favorite ideas because you're always going to get something different, and it's always going to be original, and it's always going to be expressive. Two artists can take the same exercise and create something completely different. And like I said earlier, you can take this sketchbook idea and combine it with a variety of techniques. If you don't believe me, let me show you another example. I once had a commission to create fashion portraits, but to replace the clothes with my bubble art technique. This was the result. Pretty cool, right? The possibilities are endless, and I think you'll be surprised with how many creative ideas you can come up with working through each idea in this video. But if you're still stuck, I have more creative sketchbook ideas that you can check out in this video here, and I will see you there.